The 10% withholding tax was recently introduced. It was part of the amendment that was passed in April this year, and it was a tax that is supposed to replace a VAT that was already imposed on the stake by the players.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we have had some implementation challenges on the part of the operators. It was difficult for them to fully comply, voluntarily. So following several engagements with the operators, we have to adapt the way we tax the gaming operations in Ghana, and in fact in line with best practice, across the world. And so this tax had been introduced to replace the existing tax on the stake. The only time you are made to pay this tax is when you have made profit on your bet, as compared to paying tax on every stake you make at every point of the game. So that is a little I can say about the 10%. It's a new reintroduction of an existing withholding tax that had been in the tax book since 2015.
Great. So let's get some few clarification here. If it's on the profit, so let's say I place a bet of 100 Ghana cedis and I win 1,000 Ghana cedis. What amount do you charge the 10% on?
So the 10% will be on 900.
Would be on 900.
Yes, we are careful not to tax the investment. Okay, the 100 is your investment, and the investment is yielding a profit of 900. In fact, your payout, the total amount that the gaming operator is giving you for winning the game is 1,000. We call that one payout. But the focus is not on the entire payout. Okay, we are only taxing the profit you have made, which is the 900.
Okay. So
that means that if you made less than 100 Ghana cedis, you are not going to be, you will not be paying the withholding tax. If you made up to your investment, which is 100, you will not pay the tax. It's only the excess on the investment that we are looking at.
Okay. Now, let me get some clarification. I'll come back to this shortly. Now, when you win, is it the case that before the money is transferred into your account, the deduction is made by, the partner? So let's say I'm not going to mention the betting company, because with withholding tax, the entity making the payment, paying you, is the one that withholds that amount for and on behalf of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Is that the same case, that the betting company withholds that 10%, having deducted the amount that you placed for the bet?
Exactly. So that's the requirement of the law, that the operator who is paying the winning to the player is required to withhold the 10% on the amount they are paying. So that is a responsibility or an obligation on the betting company. And at the end of the month, they do the accounting with the GRA.
How about withdrawal of your winnings? Does it attract any taxes too?
Okay, so there's another practical issue we're having to be facing. When the tax was announced, we realized that for these operators who have to use their system to collect the tax, they needed time to configure their systems. Okay, so Commissioner General has to give them some extension of time to set up their system. Unfortunately, there had been some delays, but we have to go live. So there is a temporal arrangement where the tax can be collected at the point of withdrawal until the time that the systems are fully functional. So I can just say that this is being done in phases. The first phase is that at the point of going live, most systems have not been fully configured as planned. So there's an arrangement where the tax will be deducted at the point of withdrawal. And this is it's really in the interest of the player, because for each successive win or play, they might not be taxed. Okay, until the time that we go the full hog.
Okay, so if I get you clearly, the tax is supposed to be on the winnings, but because the configurations haven't been completed, what you're doing is that now, if you're withdrawing, you would have to pay the withholding tax.
Yes, and then at the point of withdrawal, the system had already been configured to also consider your investment. Okay, so if you made a deposit today, 10,000 in your bet account, and you are withdrawing, I'm told that it's not even allowed until you bet, and you are doing withdrawal. Once there hadn't been any stake, the tax will not apply. Okay, it is only when you had played a game, and then the operator would consider the cost of playing the game in determining the net amount that should be taxed. This is just at this phase, the initial phase of the implementation.
There's also been the concern by a lot of these young ones, or a lot of persons who engage in betting, that since we're talking about the withdrawal, so for instance, if I already have some monies in there, I mean, you could keep monies in there and also withdraw. So if you have monies in there already and you're going to withdraw now so for instance, you put money in there in July, post 15th August, if you're going to withdraw, would you have to pay the 10%?
No, you do not have to. And that's why I'm saying that the system is set up to align your stake to the withdrawal. Okay, we are looking at only winnings that are, or withdrawals that relate to stake, or that can be directly attributable to the stake that had been made. Okay, and that's how the system is configured. If for any reason you are affected, I think you need to get back to the operator, and I mean, that is a conversation that can be held between the operator and the player.
Okay.
No withdrawal that is not that has no direct. Let me put it this way: if the withdrawal has nothing to do with a stake that has been done previously, it will not be taxed. Okay. That's not the focus. We are looking at a win of the player. But this is a matter of a week or two. I'm sure this will be resolved, and they will go to the mainstream. I just want to assure our players that the withdrawal approach is currently not, it's in the interest, it's the GRA that is losing temporarily, just because this is a sophisticated system we are using to collect the tax, and it's taking a while for businesses to adjust their system to be able to effectively collect the tax for the government.
Great. But, a lot of these young ones would also ask you, I mean, again, but just by way of clarification. So you're saying that if you're withdrawing, the system has been configured in a way that the amount that you use in placing the bet will not be touched?
Yes.
Okay. We know that withholding tax, as it suggests, so, tax payable is withholding tax, minus tax due, or tax due minus withholding tax is equal to the tax payable. And so if it's the withholding tax is more than the tax payable, you get some, refund here and there. Are they entitled to, if they paid more than their winnings, for instance, are they entitled to any refund subsequently?
I'm sure this will be a conversation between the player and the operator, because you are not supposed to be paying more than you are required to pay. Mm-hmm. So if you have any reason to think or believe that you have paid more, then it's a conversation that the operator would have to be having with the player.
But also, my question to you as GRA is that the withholding tax as deducted for you, if I am to come and file my returns, for instance, and I show you I show you my withholding tax certificate. Okay, I'm asking this question because anytime withholding deductions have been made on my behalf, I'm giving a withholding tax certificate. which I could then use as part of my tax filing processes and indicate that this is what I have paid, and so this is what I've done. Now, do these people have access to same and, by extension, reliefs and refunds?
Okay, no. For withholding, we have two types of withholding taxes. There's one we call final withholding, and the other is on account. The one you're talking about, that requires the withholder to give you a certificate,
Yes.
is what we call the withholding tax on account.
Sure.
This particular one, the withholding tax on winning, is a final withholding tax.
Okay.
That means that the operator is not obliged to issue any certificates to the player. The player is not required to also account for the earnings on the bet on their tax returns at the end of the year.
Okay. Finally, Mr. Thomas Agorsor, you are, project manager of the Gaming Tax Committee of the Ghana Revenue Authority. I mean, a lot of these persons who are engaged in betting have said, why are they being made to pay a final withholding tax? Why are they being made to pay 10% of their earnings? They say, I don't have a job. I mean, this is what I used to eat, and I get something small, and government wants to take 10% from me. How do you explain that?
Okay, so there's a general principle in taxation that if you earn income, you pay a tax on it. I want to say that this had been the tax books for a long time. It was only taken off in a way somewhere in 2017 when there was a policy of the government to exclude the National Lottery Authority from the tax. And that made it a bit discriminatory, and it was somehow deleted from the law. And it is coming back. And the assurance I'm giving players is that this is far better than the VAT 15% and its related levies that were imposed on the state. I see this is more comforting because you're only paying this when you win, compared to the existing law that says that if you're staking, you have to pay 15% VAT and the related levies, which could be about 19 or so percent. Okay. That has been withdrawn effective 1st January this year. The VAT on stake had been excluded from the VAT law, and then we are replacing this with the 10% withholding. And even this 10% withholding is not on the entire payout, and that is what players should be looking out for. It is not on the entire payout to the player, but on the profit that they have made. It's a tax on your return on investment, and so we should all be looking out for that. This is the only way we can all contribute in our own small way to the national kitty. The VAT that we have excluded was contributing more than half of the total revenue from the gaming sector. So the government is losing out a lot by making these changes just so the gaming industry will thrive for us to continue to make some significant amount of domestic revenue from it.
And finally, this also applies to lottery, as in staking the national lotto. Is the same process?
Yes.
So your winnings would attract a 10% withholding tax?
Yes, but in the case of the NLA, the National Lottery Authority, we have a history with the NLA. They were the reason the law was amended in 2017 to exclude winnings from NLA from the lottery. The same conversation is being held. Unfortunately, the way the law was couched, they are all included. But there is an ongoing conversation on what to do with the NLA because there had been a policy decision taken in the past to exclude them. Currently, the law does not exclude anyone from the winning.
Okay, and so currently, if you win any of the national lottery products, you have to pay?
Yes, by law, you have to pay.
And they must pay?
Yes.
Thomas Agorsor, thank you very, very much for joining us. We're very grateful to you.
Thank you, Whitney. Thank
So
you.
that's Thomas Agorsor, who is project manager of the Gaming Tax Committee of the Ghana Revenue Authority. You heard him. He says that, well, the law is very simple. Your earnings, so the profit that you make. So if you placed 100 Ghana cedis bet and you won 1,000 Ghana cedis, so minus the 100 cedis, the 10% will be on the 900. That means 90 cedis. But of course, because, the configuration, which is ongoing, what you'd experience is that once you withdraw, you pay. And so once you withdraw also, it's been configured in a way that you are still going to be charged the 10% on your profit and not on your total winnings.